Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome back to In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, and Dan Douglas with Green Beret Realty. I'm Dave Larson here with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great, the legend, Marcus Pfizer. Marcus, how are you?
Doing well, Dave. How about yourself?
You timed that swig just right. So, Mr. Vintage, as we all know, this is a really busy time for him in his shop. So I checked the phone and his phone is on silent. So we'll see if he joins us. If not, we'll give you a good show. How's that sound, Marcus?
Sounds good. We know he's putting in that work.
Yeah, put you to work. We're gonna earn our keep here tonight. So we are less than a week to Christmas. We are less than 2 weeks to 2025.
Wow.
And believe it or not, you're probably going to be on a flight to the Ames area in about 2 weeks. Do you have your flight booked for the celebration?
I do not have my flight booked yet. We're still, like I said, we're a little dilemma of everything. Like that's my wife's birthday weekend. So, we've been dealing with the fact of what we're going to do for that. I tried, to see if there was going to be a different weekend that worked for the whole. They still came back on the 3rd, so her birthday is the 3rd, so we still, up in the air about that. But we're going to decide here probably this weekend.
We got to get you here, Marcus. Like you're the main guy on this team, so I think you need to be there. And knowing your wife's love for Pizza Pit, I think that sounds like a wonderful birthday gift for her.
Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the main. I would say Larry Station and those guys were the main. But, it's a whole team effort. Like I said, I definitely appreciate it. Look forward to, getting back each and every time that we can. But like I said, it's a little dilemma right now. We're heavily leaning towards the yes side, but we'll see.
So for those that are watching on YouTube, there is a team that was a pretty special day overall. That on that same weekend, both the men's and the women's.
Who's that guy standing up top? That's arrogant as hell.
Yeah, the big tall guy in the back there.
Yeah, that was good times to be up there, especially with the ladies with those trophies. Both cutting down the nets. All the fans being there. For sure, that was a good time, without a doubt.
Special team, Marcus. You got to make it back. Fans are going to be screaming if you don't.
You think they're going to scream louder if I'm there? Had to
They're
make
going
a
to scream
difference.
loud in appreciation if you're there. They're probably going to scream that, "Where's Marcus Pfizer? Where's Marcus Pfizer?"
Man, looking at these faces on these other ladies and everyone that's on there, man. It was a long time ago, boy. Whew.
Well,
Look how
25
young we
years.
were. Huh?
Probably just feels a little bit like yesterday to you, doesn't it?
Please, how young we were. Just thinking about like my sons are this age or older now. It's crazy.
So we had a big game last weekend, or last week, I should say, between the Cyclones and the Hawks. I actually was fortunate enough to be in attendance. I went with my son, and Iowa State pulled it out. At one point, the Cyclones were down by, I think, 13 points I saw, and down at halftime, I think 44-37, and really TJ seemed to come back in the second half, and I was trying to keep up with everyone's text messages during the game and trying to enjoy the game, but yet I did have that little bit of distraction. So thank you to Brent and Chris Shipley and Marcus for keeping me entertained. But really, it was a second different story in the second half. The Cyclones outscored Iowa 52-36, and really I had to look this up, but Iowa led for 33 minutes of that game.
Yeah, that's not a fun game to be a fan of, being down that much early. But definitely have the confidence in the guys. I knew they were going to make some plays, play extremely hard to get closer in the second half and just pull it out. Definitely was a good time. That, like any other time, raised my blood pressure. At the edge of the bed, watching the TV, watching the TV, and watching the guys, come back. It was, a great thing to be a part of and to get that win. I know how hard it is to get a win there. Never won there. Only played there once, but we know that whole rivalry and how that goes, and to get that one was special.
I should have looked this up. Do you remember? So you played against Iowa 3 different times. Do you remember what your record was against the Hawks?
I was 1-2 against them.
You were 1-2. Okay.
Yeah, my freshman year, coming in, they had a better team. Guy Rucker was still there. Dean Oliver, Ricky Davis, those guys on that team. I forget the name of the coach, legendary coach that was there at the time.
Was that Tom Davis at the time?
Yeah. Okay. And so, it's just we're a better team. Sophomore year was there in Iowa City. Just really, really trying to get a hold and hang of that whole rivalry and everything. And that wasn't the best game ever. And I definitely vowed before I was done at Iowa State, I was going to beat the shit out of those guys. And the next year that came.
So 13-4 run late in the second half for the Cyclones. The crowd really, I was surprised. And I think I shot you guys some text video, but there were a number of seats that were empty. That was one thing that you hear. Of course, I don't go to Iowa games at all. Mm-hmm. And I was mildly surprised that here they are facing the number 3 team in the country, and there were probably 2,000 seats that were empty.
Well, they know it's a Cyclone State. They know what's been going on for the last couple games against them and all, so they don't want to be witness to that anymore. So, we got a couple wins up to this year, and we got another win, even though our women couldn't pull it out. That was a good game as well, but they pretty much know what was going to happen.
So I understand that fans were able to hear the chants of "Let's Go State" late in that game. Is that right?
I ain't here on the TV.
So I can't confirm or deny that I was a part of those chants, but I tell you what, it did not go over well in Carver Hawkeye by the Iowa fans. They were not happy hearing. And the Iowa State fans, I would say there were probably 3,000 of us that were there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that it looked like where the camera angle is in Carver Hawkeye, that it probably would have caught quite a few of the Iowa State fans that were in attendance. But boy, it was fun to watch the tail end of that as Iowa State built that lead up to get it up to what, 9 or 10. I think the final score was 89-80, but
Yeah.
Being as nervous as we were the entire game, to be able to finish up the way that we did, and seeing Curtis hit that huge three, which I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's on Twitter, someone matched up the Curtis Jones three and the Kyle Conradi field goal at the end of the football game, so that they synced up together. That was kind of cool to see.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. I got to see the hit. He reminds me a lot of, my teammate Mike Nurse. Yeah. Once those guys cross half court, you don't never know where it's going up from, and they're going to launch it. And they make a lot of big time shots. Mike took some shots that was so questionable that just made you like. And then once it hit the bottom of that net, you had to act like you knew he was going to make it all along. But they both take some really, really deep logo shots, and it's really, really fun to see.
Well, and one thing, you make a really nice comparison between Mike Nurse and Curtis Jones, because they really shoot flawlessly, effortless in their shot, and it's a sweet looking shot to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those shots that you love being able to see them get that open shot. If it's going to be an open shot, like I turned over a couple balls from him being like a little bit out of place, or him moving, me thinking he was going to be in the spot that he's supposed to be in, and just so anxious. I didn't get many assists, so I knew if I got it to him open, chances are it was going to be an assist. But you love to see a shooter like that. You're always envious of shooters and stuff like that. Curtis wearing number 5 now. I wasn't shooting like that, so see number 5 put up numbers and things like that is very exciting to see.
So Curtis Jones led the way with 23 points, and I think that was his third 20-point performance of the season. Joshua Jefferson, boy, that guy, he's really coming on strong this season.
Yeah, real solid. Like, I've been talking about him all year long, knowing the kid since he was a little boy. Just the smarts, the way he was raised, his parents and everything. Definitely not a trouble kid, didn't get in any kind of trouble or anything like that. Just kept his head down, played basketball the right way. And he's just steady progressing on and on and on. He's not going to do anything out of character. Reminds me a lot of like a Shane Battier type player. He's going to pass the ball, can handle it, can shoot it when he needs to shoot it. Shane shot a lot more threes. But that type of player that you can definitely depend on. He's going to have a double-double at the end of the game. It's not going to be a blow your mind 38 and 15 rebound type game, but he'll have a good solid 12, 13, 14 points and 10, 11 rebounds. That's big time for us.
Yeah, in this game against Iowa, he was 19 and 10, and probably more importantly, and I think we talked about this in prior episodes, but 10 for 12 from the line. That was something that seemed to really be missing in prior teams.
Yeah, and coaching against him here in Vegas, we knew, if you got close, if it was close at the end of the game, he was, one of those big, bigs typically take it out to not get fouled. On the teams he was on, he had a lot of the guards was taking it out because he can shoot it so well, have a nice, feeling, touch from the free throw line. So to see him shooting it so well in college is definitely a testament to what kind of talent and skill that he has. I think he's missed 2 or 3 on the year. So to be shooting that high, I know the guards are definitely envious.
The other president, Deshaun Jackson, had 12 points. So these transfers are really performing. And Nate Heisey, who transferred in, had 10 points as well. So these guys that came in that were recruited by Coach TJ have really stepped up and big contributors for the Cyclones.
Yeah, starting to get rolling at the right time. Staying solid, staying focused, knowing that the Big 12 conference is right around the corner. This is ours for the taking. We know we got some tough teams that's coming into the fray, and we got the ones that's been here that's definitely going to compete. But this is our year that we definitely can go deep into the tournament, and we're looking forward to it.
Any concerns just with the first half and how hot? I mean, Iowa just shot lights out at one time, and my son pulled it up on his phone because for some reason I couldn't get squat. But I think Iowa State was shooting 10% from three, and Iowa was shooting 70% or 65%, something insane that you don't expect.
Well, when you're not guarding as good as you should be, and teams make shots, now you're a little, reluctant to guard them harder because, how players are. They don't want to make it seem like they're there and they're getting shots knocked down in their face. So to go into halftime, I'm sure TJ and the coaching staff probably lit into them pretty well. They came out in the second half and changed the whole dynamic of the game. So it's something that typically happens. As long as you stay the course, slowly walk the game down in chunks, it'll definitely turn for the better, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Iowa really cooled off in the second half and ended up, I think they were shooting in the upper 20s, low 30s for a better part of the second half. And you're right, Iowa State just chipped away, and didn't try to shoot a 10-point shot because it doesn't exist, and clawed their way back.
There was a lot of time still left. The score was close in the end. I guess you say 8 or 9 points or whatever the case may be. But, all you need is 1 point to win the game. And as soon as we took the lead and the momentum had changed, like I said, there's the flow of the game where you feel like, okay, it's our time now, and we can control it. And the flip side of that is sometimes you feel like, hey, it don't matter what we do. We could be making shots. If they have the momentum, we're not getting it back. So once we had control of that game, now it's time and score, which is very, very important in basketball games. You really, really can milk the clock if you do it the right way. The team that's behind start to try to do some things and taking 10-pointers and things like that. So once you calculate what you need to do to keep the game under control, then, you can pretty much go from where you want to go from there. So it was always good to see that growth, being in that environment, and being in Iowa City against the Hawkeyes is always, a stressful thing or whatever, but, extremely proud of the way the guys, finished that game.
Absolutely agree. Another sort of weird quirk or weird statistic, but Iowa State took 70 shots in the game. Marcus said, you think Larry Eustachy's team ever took that many shots in a game, if not 2 games combined?
No, I wouldn't think at all. I mean, I would say the volume shooters on the team was probably me and Mike, and if we got 30 shots together combined, that's shooting a ton. I didn't know that 70 shots, but in the first half, we missed a lot. So now you're trying to make shots and take shots. Then in the second half, shots start going in. You definitely don't want to back off then. So I don't care if you shoot 100 as long as you win. At least get the W with it.
And that they did. Came back then on Sunday, beat up on Omaha. Obviously, finals week this week, so a little bit of a taking a step back for the team and getting them through the finals week and probably through cold and flu season. That thankfully I'm over mine after 3 weeks, and it sounds like you're doing much better as well. Morgan State comes to town noon this Sunday, but then Monday the 30th, boy, believe it or not, conference season is here, playing at Colorado, a team that we beat in Maui 99-71. That's one thing, and I think I brought this up early in the season, but Colorado, just over the years, whether it's in the Big 8 season in particular, I felt like we've never played well there, and I think part of that is probably just the altitude and whatnot. Your thoughts as we head into the Big 12 season, now that we've seen the Kansas at times has struggled. Houston is maybe struggling a little bit. They're not quite the same team that they were in years past. What are your thoughts as we head into Big 12 play?
Well, at this point, the teams, everybody has gotten better. And we feel like that, Colorado and Boulder, they're always going to have a little bit of an advantage with altitude and everything like that. So that's something to always be cautious about. We beat them in Maui pretty handily. So, hopefully we don't take that for granted and just still go out and play a sound game and get that W. But once the Big 12 starts, there's a whole new season. We've been in some positions where we're picked to be lower in the conference, and we've had success, and vice versa. So you never know what you're going to get with that league because of how tough it is, and I'm looking forward to it getting started.
And then also announced this week, Coach TJ Otzelberger was assigned to an extension. We don't know all the terms other than it's through 2032. So obviously he's being rewarded, as he should be, for the success that we're seeing within his program.
Yeah, definitely. We have some really, really good dynamic coaches that has been rewarded with some great job security with Coach Campbell and Coach Oates. So looking forward to a lot of stability being there, being able to bring in a lot of different key players, understanding that we not necessarily looking to be a powerhouse, but looking to be solid. When you're that solid program, a respectable program, you can do a lot of big things and make it deep into the postseason and whatever your sport is. But that's the number one thing that I love about Iowa State and about the athletics department is just that being able to be that respectable program. A lot of people take you for granted. A lot of blue collar hard workers, and we come out to play.
So TJ, we've talked a little bit about this before, and I don't think it's any secret, but Jamie Pollard had wanted TJ to take over for Fred. Then Iowa State President Stephen Leith said, no, I want someone that has head coaching experience at this level, which then led to what is that, McDermott or Prohm?
There's Prohm at the Freddie.
Prohm, I think so. So, in the back of your mind, do you think that TJ and Jamie are kind of doing this to Stephen Leith, going, told you so, told you so?
I mean, at this point, the way TJ is coaching and the way the ball club and program is going, I mean, it's kind of like, when I was playing, you get 2 free throws, you make the first one and miss the second one, and you think to yourself, man, I missed the second one. I could have had 2 points, but it's been situations where I missed the second one, we tipped it out or whatever, the ball swung around. I'm mad because I missed the second one and then I shoot and make a 3. Now I got 4 points instead of, 2. So is that type of mentality? Maybe not to say that TJ wasn't ready then. It may have been a different situation and he can build the ball club and the program the way he wanted to or have now, and maybe not had as much success. So the timing of everything happens for a reason. I know he wouldn't trade these ball clubs that he have now for the maybes of back then. And you just continue to go forward through there. He just got a contract extension to 2032 and we're in 2024. So I think he's, pretty solid with what's going on at the moment.
I think what's interesting is when TJ came on 3 seasons or so ago, really the focus was so heavily on defense, and not saying that has gone away because that intensity is still there. I think they're still one of the top 10 teams defensively, but offensively now, that's where really we've made a huge stride, especially when you compare the first team that he had to today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the name of the game is you got to score more points than the other team. Regardless, if it's 1-0 and you got the 1, then you win the ball game. If it's 101 to 100, you still win the ball game. It's going to be some games where you cannot stop the opposing team. We see Steph Curry go ballistic and they lose the game because they got outscored or whatever. So whatever the case may be, defense is always going to be a great and a strong pillar of our programs and things like that. But you got to understand that some teams match up with you better than others and some don't. So you just got to focus on what you got to do to win the game. If it's an ugly game, if it's an ugly win, we got to get that ugly win and go on to the next one.
Yeah, so I probably know the answer to this, but as a player, do you enjoy playing in a high-scoring game or do you prefer more of the low scoring that's just a backroom knuckle fist fight?
No, high scoring game. The more points you score, the better the ball club feels. You know, if it's a low scoring game, that Drake game, they're beating me to death inside. The refs will probably let them do some things that they're not supposed to do. High scoring game, everybody is involved. The more points that players score, more dunks you get, the more defense players play. If you miss a play, a highlight play, and it was like a dunk or something, who did the dunk because of how they're playing defense going back on the other end. So for me, scoring more points, it is entertainment as well as, a basketball game. So scoring more points is always best.
Okay. Well, and I will always remember your dunk over Chris Mims. So the offense rules, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good play.
Yeah, it was. Hey, I want to get, as we move around here a little bit, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things that are basketball related. So it just came out, I think I saw a news report today, but
yeah.
Rick Pitino had basically alluded that the St. John's team is no longer going to participate in the end of game handshake line. Do you have any thoughts on that as a former player?
I don't have no problem with it. With the whole thing when COVID came about and, there weren't any handshakes, I felt like it was not that bad of a thing either. Depending on the temperature of the game. I mean, because a lot of times it's not, and we've seen Juwan Howard when he was at Michigan with some other coaches. A lot of times it's not even the players. It could be the coaches as well.
True.
I don't get that deep into, you got to shake hands or it's a mutual thing. We're competitors or whatever. Even if you, throw the hand up a wave or just go your separate ways, to the locker room, that's fine for me too.
And then I also wanted your thoughts. I think it was announced yesterday, the NBA All-Star Game is changing up how their All-Star Game is going to look. So they're going with 3 teams of 8 All-Stars, and then a 4th team that'll consist of rising future stars. And so they'll play in a mini tournament where 2 teams will play, and then the winners will play each other. So there'll be 3 total games. First team to 40 points moves on.
That's trash.
Okay.
I think that's they're hiding a lot of things behind advertising and money and stuff like that now. Like, one of the things people say, why are players making so much money? The misconception is people think players are getting paid off of ticket sales. The ticket sales is a small pie of, the revenue that comes into the league, and with the revenue sharing, the new, with the new CBAs in the last couple of years, that's why salaries have gone up, because we can see this pie of how much you're getting with these ads and advertising and all that different stuff. You got to pay the talent a lot of that. So that's why salaries are so much higher. So the All-Star game and things like that, it's like it's not as prestigious as the Super Bowl, but now you got a lot more eyes on the court and players and things. So they're trying to try different things. I mean, if they just go back to East versus West, I mean, that was fine enough. I would take it back all the way to the days where the players wore their own jerseys and things like that. They don't even do that no more. But I hadn't even heard that. Like, that's the first time I heard that whole, schematic of what they wanted to do. And it don't sound like there's going to be too much of fun. Yeah, I get it. They're trying to do some things to bring more excitement into it. But also, I mean, the time we've come so far. There's only so many dunks you can see in the dunk contest. Now is how high can guys jump. We're tired of seeing people jump over people or half-ass jump over people. You're not gonna let them pull out no car anymore. Like, it gets to the point to where, when you have Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon going against each other, and it's like that's the top tier of dunkers, and you have that, is like, how much more can you do? So I get it, I understand it, but me personally, I like the whole Elam ending thing, because second half, third quarter going into the fourth, now it really, really picks up, because now guys are really, really playing because you can end the game really fast, or the team that's behind can come up and win the game. When they took that out, I was like, now we're going back to the gimmicks.
So are you okay with keeping it as it was previously with the East versus West, and let's just fart around for 3 quarters and then we'll take it more seriously in the fourth quarter?
Well, you gotta give the guys some kind of incentive to take it more serious, from the beginning. So the East versus West thing was pretty much my favorite. Once they brought in the Elam ending thing, it was a little bit better. I'm not totally opposed to go back up. I'm not totally opposed to the picking teams and things of that nature. I get it, but even with that, the Elam Indy really made it a little bit more exciting. You take both of those away, now it's like, okay, now what we're doing. I don't know. I guess they're getting these ideas from analytics guys or something.
All right. Well, I appreciate your thoughts on that. It's something that just kind of came out this week. And as a former NBA player, I thought you'd have some insight and some thoughts on both of those situations.
I'd be curious to know what some other guys, current players, are saying about it or what they think about it.
Yeah, well, and I'll be curious just once the All-Star Weekend hits, what that actually looks like, and if players are anxious to try to win and be the champ. So it will be interesting.
One of the things about the All-Star break is, contrary to belief, it's not a lot of fun, especially for the players. It's tons of people everywhere, especially the host hotel. The lobby is flooded with people everywhere. There's a lot of different things that's going on, a lot of different events to go to, a lot of different, like, quote-unquote, mandatory events to go to. If you're on the team that's winning, before the All-Star break, that should be your break period. Now you're going there, and it's just a whole lot that comes behind it. And by the time you get to the game, guys are really tired, and now you're coming into the next week. You may have a day or a day and a half before you start back playing. So you're not thinking about really the All-Star game. You're thinking about, what we're going to do to finish strong. Because, like I said, things are different now. People compare the eras and everything like that back then when, guys were making $3-4 million a year as the top. They were focused on whatever that they can do to maximize getting seen, endorsements, and all of that. But when you got guys making $50 million a year off of their salary alone, it's like, I'm not going to jeopardize this. People, they're on Joel Embiid about, well, he's not playing back-to-back. Joel is not playing back-to-backs because, the team trainer is telling them he shouldn't play back-to-backs. And once they come down with the ruling, if he goes out on the floor on the back-to-back, guess who gets fined? The player gets fined because he's the investment. They don't care about really what the fans are thinking or whatever. They're thinking about how they can maximize their investment to get farther ahead. And it's just a different dynamic of where the game is right now.
So what's the solution behind all of that? Is it do you have a longer break to give those players an opportunity to both participate in the All-Star game and then have a little bit of a mini break? Do you pay more?
I think paying more for the All-Star game, all of that is better. The whole in-season tournament is starting to pick up a little bit more steam. Last year, people just hated it because LeBron James and the Lakers won. Now, I hadn't heard anybody criticize the in-season tournament this year at all. I'm glad my Bucks won. So that was big for me in that whole situation. But, those guys won $500,000 to win that tournament. That's a nice check. You give them, $200,000 or $300,000, $500,000 for the All-Star game. That goes a long way. But, if it's just something for fun and I'm not really having fun, then what you expect me to do?
Yeah, but that's also just a half a season of playing football for the University of Texas, right?
Yeah. We know how that goes.
All right. So moving back to women's basketball now, disappointing loss against Iowa, which I think we jumped off our podcast to watch that. And then really earlier this week against UConn, ouch, just 36-10 after the first quarter. And then, we got within 16 or so. UConn, they're really, really good. And I'm glad this part of the season's over. We've played 3 of last season's Final Four teams, played a tough UNI game, obviously, that they want. There's a lot of want in there, and to try to beat Iowa State. A lot of those kids grew up playing against players from Iowa State and Audie Crooks, and they probably carried a bigger chip on their shoulder than we give them credit for. And now we move into Big 12 play, a chance to obviously try to make up for the loss of Kenzie Hare, who's out for the remainder of the season, and to adapt and kind of get a little bit of a reset. Thoughts on the women's program that you've seen thus far? And I think you saw the replay of the women's game against UConn. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough, regular season before the conference. But, hats off to Coach Finley and the rest of the coaching staff for taking on that challenge. We could have played a lot of softer teams and had a better record and went into the Big 12 not, ready for the teams in the Big 12. But, we're battle tested and we understand what needs to happen because there's some tough women teams in the Big 12 as well. So, ready to get there, ready to, take some of those bad losses out against some of these teams. Like you said, we played against, some top teams that made it, deep into the tournament last year. So that chapter is over. That season is pretty much over, and we're looking forward to moving forward.
Yeah, I'm still going to go back. I really love this team. It's too bad that Kenzie's hurt, and you can see it's interesting. I was at an event last night representing my company to talk with military veterans, and had a chance to sit down and talk with another company employer. And actually, she used to play at Iowa State back in back in the mid 80s, and had a really good conversation about this team. And I told her the same thing. I really like the parts are there, right? Mm-hmm. We've got the players, and I think it's just got a lot of younger kids that are still in development mode. That you're right. These are some hostile opportunities for them to face. That I think by the end of the year, we're going to be a much different team. By the time we get through the Big 12 conference and we get into the tournament, I fully expect us to be in the tournament. But I really like the parts. The parts are there.
Yeah, to see South Carolina and UConn, those type of teams on the schedule ahead of time for the year, like that's going to be a good test. You didn't expect them to be as lopsided as they were, but at the same time, okay, we get it and we understand what it's going to be when that time comes. And so, we can get a lot of momentum once the conference start, continue to play well, and Coach Finley is definitely going to have them ready without a doubt. There's a lot of folded arms over there doing those courses of the games, and he don't never lose his cool or anything like that. He understands the bigger picture, and like I said, hats off to him for taking those challenges.
Yeah, my only concern with a young team like that is they saw so much success last year. I hope that it doesn't impact their psyche that they've not seen the success early on this year. And I think they have to keep in mind too that they played some really, really good teams, some tough opponents, that this is really about opportunity to develop, and that they're going to see that growth as they face similar situations moving forward.
Yeah, and once you get into conference and you play against teams and you're having success and you beat them, then it starts to level out. Mentally, you start to get it. Okay, we have to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and once we get further down the line, then we worry about those teams that's going to get tougher as we get further down the line. But for right now, we do the things that we got to do to continue to progress on and be solid.
All right, so I want to take a pivot. We want to hear a word from our sponsor. Our last podcast, we spent a lot of time on football. I want to go back to a little bit of football because we've got a big game coming up with the bowl game, and there's been some other news that have been going on. We spent a lot of time on the front end talking about basketball. So let's go take a little quick break here, and we can hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back on the other side and talk a little bit about the football team.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. When energy meets precision, anything is possible.
I'm Carter Hawley, the Chief Energy Officer of the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm full of energy on and off the court, but nothing gives me more energy than helping families find their dream home. And that's where Green Beret Realty comes in. They're more than just realtors. They're a team dedicated to getting things right for you and your family, just like we get it right on the court. Sometimes it takes a team to get the call right. And when you're buying a home, you want a team that makes all the right calls. That is Green Beret Realty. And here's the best part. When you buy or sell a home through Dan at Green Beret Realty and mention this ad, he'll make a donation to the We Will Collective, helping student athletes like me thrive on and off the court.
Green Beret Realty, because getting the call right means everything.
All right, we're back. So, it's interesting with Green Beret that I see the Feds drop their interest rates, so we'll probably see the effects of that just after the first of the year. Now might be a great time if you're out looking for a home to consider buying. And as we approach the holidays here, I've got my Revelton, and this is I've switched to the winter blend here with the cream liqueur, but boy, we'd appreciate it if you can keep our sponsors in mind, particularly as you head towards the holidays. And before you head over to grandma's house or auntie's house, pick up yourself some Revelton and take it over there, either for your Christmas meal or just to hand out as gifts. Marcus, you got yours?
No, I don't have mine yet. I possibly get some once I come back in January if we make that trip.
First one's on me, my friend. First one's on me. Definitely.
Oh, my Bulls beat the Celtics.
Celtics are playing well, tell you.
Looks like we beat the Celtics in Boston.
Wow. That's a big win.
That's probably in Chicago.
All right, so we teased a little bit. Football portal is open and it closes in another 9 days. Everyone's sort of holding their breath collectively. Have a game on the day that the portal closes on the 28th. So far, not, and we sort of talked a little bit about this the last show, but not a lot of huge losses. J.J. Cole, who was a heralded quarterback from Ankeny, looking to transfer out. So he's probably the biggest name that's out there. But on the receiving end, what the portal takes away, the portal giveth. Wide receivers Chase Sewell from East Carolina is transferring in. And then he chose us over Florida, SMU, and Arizona State. So some pretty big name programs. And then Xavier Townsend is transferring in from UCF. Tampa kid who I believe went to high school with Rocco Beck. So it's kind of good to see him. I think he played the first 3 or 4 games and then held himself out and announced that he was going to be planning to transfer. So to be able to save a year of eligibility. So big news there. And then Benji Nagoye, wide receiver for Iowa State, sounds like, and I heard it on John Walter's podcast just today, that he's sounds like they may be talking to him a little bit about transferring or moving from wide receiver to defensive back in a position change, that they feel like he's got some high-end opportunity to perhaps play at that next level in the NFL with that move. So some cool things happening with the football program. Next up, we play Pop-Tarts Bowl. We talked quite a bit about that last week against Miami in Orlando on the 28th, 2:30 kickoff against University of Miami, obviously. The Hurricanes against the Cyclones. I guess we'll get to see which tropical or which storm system will come out in that game, televised on ABC. Marcus, what is your favorite Pop-Tart?
I don't have a favorite Pop-Tart. I don't eat Pop-Tarts. Nah, I don't even.
What are you talking about?
Don't even eat them. Don't even eat them.
You must have been a deprived child. Even as an adult, you've never had a Pop-Tart?
I mean, I've had them. Right now, I just don't. It's been, I don't know. I don't even know if my kids even ever had. Like, it's been years. Junior, when the last time have you ever had a Pop-Tart? He said at Bella Vista prep like 2 years ago. Like, it's just, we just don't eat Pop-Tarts and things like that. Nah.
So I was really deprived growing up. Thanks, Mom. And I didn't really have a chance. It was that cornflakes and bran nut or whatever cereal that was supposed to be healthy for you.
I like cornflakes. I like Raisin Bran and stuff like that. That's the type cereal and stuff that I like. I don't like real sugary Frosted Flakes and stuff like that. Pop-Tarts and things like that. Like, they get, if you microwave them or put them in a toaster, they get too hot. I don't like my food too hot.
Well, no, you eat them raw. You can eat those raw too.
You probably could. Yeah. But it's too much sugar.
Okay, that's fair. Taylor, by the way, Taylor Mauser, Coach Mouse, he proclaimed that Hot Fudge Sundae was his favorite.
That's a Pop-Tart?
Yes, they have all sorts of flavors out there now.
Yeah, that's a lot of artificial flavor for sure.
Yeah, it tastes good though. I'm a frosted cherry all the way. Frosted cherry, blueberry, some of those staples. There's a lemon one that's pretty good, a banana bread one that's pretty decent. The wild cherry is pretty. I've tried them all. I love Pop-Tarts.
Probably don't like the cinnamon ones too much. Those are too plain.
No, I like cinnamon. And there's the brown sugar one's pretty good too.
Right. That's what I think I meant, the brown sugar.
I'm amazed at the number of people that really, that's their favorite. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I can't say it's my absolute favorite, but it is pretty good.
Yeah. When we travel, we see them in the hotels and stuff, but I'm good.
Shocked. Call me shocked. Also, this last weekend, I was on a treadmill up in Wisconsin for my daughter's cheer competition. I got a chance to watch the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Colorado's Travis Hunter. We can now proudly say Big 12 Colorado's Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy. Don't know, did you get a chance to watch that?
No, there was a game that was on that I was watching.
Okay. At
the time. And it came down on the screen that he had won. But, definitely big up to him, the whole program, that the way Coach Prime has transferred that program in these 2 years is definitely, unfathomable for them and, the University of Colorado. But, well deserving. You got to give a lot of credit to Shador as well. He's throwing the ball to him. Got him a lot of highlights and things of that nature. That's his Jamal Tinsley. So definitely give a big shout out to him without a doubt. But, a lot of people doubted him. They want to – social media is what it is. They're going so hard on this fiance and all that different stuff. And it's and for a player or a person like me, to know coming from high school, becoming a star in high school, star in college, on the way to the pros, I know that whole trajectory. And, at any rate, he's a kid. So you can't you don't know, who you're going to be with or who you fall in love, all that type different stuff. He's only a kid, so you gotta allow him or the whole situation to play out and be what it's going to be. But we're living in social media times now where everything is one click away. Your opinion matters more than anything in the world than anybody else's. There's a lot of jealousy and envy and all that. I saw somebody post early, some female posted early. It was him and her, and she was showing her ring, and like the caption said, "I hope she take it all." And I said, "Wow, really?" Like that's now if you was in a position and he was, dating you and he proposed to you, you wouldn't want nobody saying to you that, "Oh, I hope you take it all." Like, you're not in that position. Like, don't do that. But like I said, that's just how social media is. He's a good kid, down to earth. He's not thinking about no kind of hoopla, anything. He's just worrying about being a good student athlete, making it to the next level and going from there.
Well, and you have to admire him because here's a guy that I believe he was like the top recruit coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had him slotted for Florida State. He throws off the Florida State hat and goes, I'm following Coach Deion to Jackson State. And then when Deion went to Colorado, he went with him, following Coach Prime to the Buffaloes. And here he is. He's been rewarded, right? He's Heisman Trophy winner. He has been an elite wide receiver, an elite defender.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It really is a remarkable story.
Yeah, one other thing that they said, they said he's not getting any NIL money from their collective. They said all his money that he gets is from his endorsements, and he's actually paying into the collective for about 10 to 15 of guys on the team. Wow. And that just came out like recently in the last couple of days that nobody knew anything about it. And that tells you how upstanding Coach Prime is and how they kept that under wrap, for so long. I think Coach Prime is the one that let it out to know, because he's going to the next level now. We all know that he's not getting any money from their collective and that he's actually, paying into about 10 to 15 guys, if not even 20 guys collective, and he's paying their NIL. And, look what season that they had. It was one win away from being, in the position that we were in, or, could have been higher. So, definitely hats out to them for sure.
I was going to ask you too about the Pop-Tart Trophy or Pop-Tart Bowl Trophy. Have you seen that trophy?
No.
So it actually has a toaster in it where you can put 2 Pop-Tarts in it. It'll warm it up and pop it out like a toaster.
Oh, I got to see that.
All right. So I actually have this. I'm going to see if I can pull that in so you can see it here on video. So, all right. I saved their Twitter account for just this occasion. Can you see it on your screen?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, so it's a football. Wow.
Yeah. Did you see that? Those Pop-Tarts pop out?
See, I told you everything is about advertising. Then they peel it out of the Pop-Tart foil. See? Then they got Pop-Tarts along the side. That's pretty dope. Does that go to the team, or is that an individual trophy?
I think it goes to the team. And so if we win, I can't wait to put some Pop-Tarts in that baby.
We win that one, and then I'll put a Pop-Tart in there and try
it. Fair enough. So other bowl games that the Big 12 is in, just a couple of nights ago, West Virginia lost to Memphis, a team that we're familiar with, obviously from playing them in a couple of years in the Liberty Bowl. They played in the Frisco Bowl. Kansas State plays next Thursday against Rutgers in the Rate Bowl. Not quite certain where that is.
That's going to be tough.
Texas Tech plays Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl on the following Friday. So next Friday, the 27th. TCU plays Louisiana in the New Mexico Bowl on Saturday, the 28th. Colorado, who we just spent some time talking about, plays another Big 12 foe, BYU, in the Alamo Bowl, a game that I think we thought Iowa State was going to be headed to. In retrospect, what are your thoughts? I kind of like the matchup against Miami and playing them rather than playing Colorado in the Alamo. The drive to the Alamo Bowl would be a lot easier to make for a lot of us in Iowa rather than to Orlando and flying there and the logistics behind that. But I think I like the matchup a little bit better. What about you?
I mean, San Antonio is pretty deep down there, so it may be about the same distance. But I don't think I'm too favorable about it. I mean, try to do something different, a different setup than you having to play a team that's in your conference. I ain't too crazy about that. Like, it's, you know, I don't know. I guess that's how it falls, but, you know, did BYU play Colorado this year, or even, you know?
Well, yeah, in fairness, they didn't play each other.
Well, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, and that was one of the challenges with having a 4-way tie. Those teams, none of them played one another in the regular season.
Well, that's a little bit better, but, you know, somebody from the Big 12 going to come on with that trophy, so.
And then Baylor plays LSU in the Texas Bowl on Tuesday on New Year's Eve. And then, of course, Arizona State will play on the 1st in the Peach Bowl against the winner of Texas and Clemson, who play I want to say they play on Saturday. They play on Saturday.
Oh, my. Texas should have a cakewalk.
You would think that.
I think that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Texas is going to.
CFP game starts tomorrow night, believe it or not. Indiana plays at Notre Dame, which should be a rather cold game. It's gotten cold here in the Midwest for those of you who are not paying attention, Marcus. Saturday, then there's the 3 games. SMU plays at Penn State. That may be a little bit of a surprise for SMU coming up from Texas to play in Pennsylvania. Clemson, we talked about, is playing at Texas. And then Tennessee is heading to the play the Buckeyes and Ohio State. Any of those games that you find a little bit more appealing to watch as a viewer?
That Ohio State-Tennessee game will be a real good one.
Okay.
It's going to be a really, really good one. I just think the Texas game is going to be, one of those games. But I'm looking forward to the Tennessee-Ohio State game. I didn't know that's who they matched up against. I don't think I realized it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also really intrigued by tomorrow night's game, Indiana against Notre Dame. Notre Dame does not schedule Indiana. They're basically in their backyard. And I think those kids that are playing for Indiana are probably really looking forward to playing that game.
I still think Notre Dame is going to just a different level. There's a different level. I mean, even though they hadn't had, much success since Rudy and all of that, but I just still think it's a different level.
Yeah, well, and a lot of us in Central Iowa are looking forward to that because local boy Eli Reardon, who went to Western One Valley, is a tight end for the Fighting Irish. So I think that'll be a fun one for us to watch. And then the winner of that game plays Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. So this is the fun part of the season, watching some of these bowls, and I really hope that obviously the CFP games get the big name, the big notice, all the lights, but there's a lot of good bowl games that will be out there as well.
Yeah, I like this new setup. Though of course it's going to have some tweaks to get better, but the more games on the docket for me, the better. You don't want to get to this time of the year and then all the games are played really fast and you're done with it. I like more teams being in. I like the opportunity for more teams being able to get in and going from there.
Hey, speaking of Ohio State, but did you hear the bill that the Ohio legislation is trying to bring in where it would be a felony to plant a flag at midfield at Ohio State games?
I didn't hear that. I'm not opposed to whatever strict ruling that comes down because I personally think that's I mean, there's too many things that can happen from that, especially with football players. In that situation, just don't do it. Whatever you got to do to, make sure that it doesn't happen, just don't do it. Because at this point, what we've seen, it's not going to do anything but lead into trouble. And it, different things like this happen to where guys that are not even in, the scrum of everything, somebody rocks back on a knee or ankle or something, and that's around be the quarterback or one of the star receivers or something. You just don't need it. I mean, especially the center. If you want, whatever side that you on and you got your fans, if you want to try to plant the flag there or go stand on the bench and hold the flag up, that's a little bit different. Going to the 50-yard line, center of their logo and planting the flag, that's a little bit too disrespectful. So whatever ruling comes down, the NCAA definitely need to come with something to avert anything like that happening.
Well, Michigan fans would just say the way that you take care of that is win the game. Like, quick and play and win the game.
The Michigan is riding a little high right now because maybe the football team thought they were going to win. Nobody thought they were going to win after, Harbaugh was gone. I played a hell of a game. Went down there and handled their business or whatever. But again, I'm still on the side. I'm on the side now as a player and the coach, because the one thing that I always hated is, you already got to contend with injuries and stuff like that. Accidental injuries is, the absolute worst to me. I hate seeing that happen, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't want to see happen in a situation like that, where there's pushing and shoving, someone slips, someone gets pushed, breaks an ankle, cracks something.
Achilles.
Yeah,
whatever.
You just don't want to see that. So
I'm fine with it.
Excuse me. So as we start to wind down here on this episode, I don't know if you saw the Athletic article. I haven't fully read it myself just yet. I've seen some of the highlights, but apparently New York Jets owner, and of course we have got several Iowa State players on that Jets team with Breece Hall, Allen Lazard, and Kenny Nwangu that are playing for the Jets. But in the article, apparently the owner has turned down opportunities to sign players because of their Madden EA Sports rating.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, Jerry Jeudy was one that they kicked the tires on, wide receiver, during the offseason, and Woody Johnson said, his score is not high enough in Madden, so I don't want him.
Well,
did you see that?
I saw a little bit of that earlier. Again, we're in social media times where you really don't know what's true or not. I look at it as clickbait. It could be absolutely 100% accurate, but like I said, we can never tell. And for any rate, when you got owners and people that's as rich as they are, including one Jerry Jones, there's nothing you really can tell him about his team and things like that. And like I've told a lot of the Cowboys fans, over the last 30 years, 29 years that it's going on with these dynamic teams that they've had in Dallas, Jerry should have been stepped aside, but the pride won't let him do it. He's going to continue to run it, and it's like they should have been won the trophy in all of these teams that they've had since, 95, 96. So it is what it is. It's not going to make it, or break his day one way or the other, because, again, they're the boss. They're going to do whatever they want to do.
It's his money, right? Spend it any way he wants.
Is his money to win, is his money to lose. At that point, you're playing with house money. It's all yours.
All right, so we kicked off the show talking a little bit about that special team that's going to be coming into town on January 4th. Marcus, when do you plan to tweet something out of your plans to attend? Maybe not all the details in the agenda, but do you plan to let all of us know that whether or not you're coming or not?
I guess possibly. Like I said, me and Miss is going to talk more on it, here shortly. Probably this weekend, we're going to make the sound decision. We talked about it a little bit yesterday when we went down to Arizona to pick up Marcus Jr. So Just a turnaround trip. Came back last night. Really ain't talked much more about it since, but it's something that we definitely, like I said, leaning more yes than no. We got a lot of family back there. We spend a lot of time with my host parents and family and stuff there, Story City, Jefferson City. That's one of the things that we do now that we've gotten older and the kids have gotten older. They've grown up, raised them as well too. So once we get back to Iowa, we disappear. We take that, whatever it is, an hour and a half drive over to Jefferson City, go over there on the farm, get on the combines and feed the animals and all that. I mean, the kids absolutely love it. Kick off our shoes, spend all the time that we want there. Grandma cooks all the food and, we leave there heavier than when we came. And, that's that. If anything, that's one of the biggest things that we're looking forward to do. And if we get around to some pizza pit before we leave, that's a plus as well.
Well, you're cutting it short, my friend. Let's get on the speed bus here and make that call and get those tickets booked.
We'll see what happens. And like I said, that's our birthday weekend. It's been some years since we've been back to Chicago, so we're like contemplating, how much time we spend in Iowa if we come there, go through Chicago to see the family or whatever, and try to make it a little trip. But it's a lot of moving parts within there and trying to figure it out.
All right, so you're leaning towards coming. No pressure, but yeah, I'm trying to pressure you into making a decision to come. So hope that you'll be able to make it. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. It's been a privilege to host this podcast and with Marcus and Brent. And
been a pleasure.
So thankful to have everybody join us each week, week in and week out, and even during our times where we put things in a pause. And again, during this holiday season, just wish the best for everybody to stay healthy and stay safe. And again, if you have an opportunity to get out and help us to be able to say thank you to our sponsors, Revelton Distilling Company, and please get out and buy and make your purchase here for the holiday season. And thank you to Dan Douglas with Green Beret Realty as well. So that's it for another episode of In the Size Storm. Brent, we will see you next time. Marcus, hopefully
Happy holidays.
Yeah, we'll probably have to figure out kind of the holiday schedule, what exactly we're going to do. We may take a little bit of pause and come back after the first of the year, notably when you're in town. You're in town.
We may do a live show if we make that trip.
Ooh, that sounds appealing.
Live show at Pizza Pit or something. Maybe get on the horn to call those guys and say,
I like it.
Out. We'll see.
All right. Take care, everybody. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.